So ML 121 is not a hands-on project really, but it might be quite important. We've done some prompt injection right at the start of the class where you would tell strange stories to your large language model to trick it into violating the security policy. And this is the field called prompt engineering. So there's a tutorial. He made a big deal as you learn how to do prompt engineering with different techniques. And here's the common techniques: zero-shot prompting, few-shot prompting, chain of thought prompting, and so on. And so you can learn these techniques, and these are the techniques to get better answers out of large language models. So there's different prompt types, and you can go here and read this thing and learn about it. Zero-shot prompting is where you ask it to do something, you tell it what to do, and you give it a question, and it has to solve it. So it has to understand your instructions and obey them. And remember, now that we understand how these large language models work, this is hard for it. You've given it just a few data points to indicate the trend, and then it's going to extend that trend by predicting the next word. So if you give it more text to more firmly establish the direction you're going, it's more likely to go the right direction and give you a better answer. So few-shot prompting is better, where instead of asking it to do something, you give it examples. This is negative, this is positive, this is positive. You give it examples of what you're trying to do, and then it will just imitate that. So that's where you give it a few shots. Then there's chain of thought, and this is extremely useful for tasks like programming. If you give it a complicated programming problem, and you just give it a short description of the problem, and it tries to write a complicated function with many subroutines, it's very likely not to work. And by the way, of course, the same thing is true of humans writing code. I remember a statement I've heard is that professional programmers spend 80% of their time planning code. Before they write any code, they make a detailed diagram of functions and arrows and such. They don't bother writing any code until they've carefully planned exactly how to do it. And that's what chain of thought prompting is. Instead of giving it a complicated question like this and getting the wrong answer, you ask it a little bit at a time, step by step. First do this little bit, then do another little bit, and so on. So that's better. And then there are some more ones down here. And one of the most important ones, which we're definitely going to come back to later, is retrieval augmented generation. This is how Microsoft Copilot works. And we're going to make two examples of this with our own code, where you have you add extra information to your question and you harvest it from a data set. So we'll talk about that more later on. Anyway, all this one here is just one where you get to practice these things, and then you answer some questions, you get points for it, understanding different prompt types and so on. So you might want to check that out, a conceptual project, a reading project and comprehension, not hands-on. So I'm going to stop this one. All right. Oh,